Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. Today's teaching Today's teaching was inspired by one of you, specifically by a comment from, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your account name properly, Cocaina9145, under our recent video, what happens to our divine masculine when we exchange codes. So she had asked me, please, can you talk about mirroring each other when you unknowingly mirror his behaviors? How do we heal the connection? This is such a powerful question, one that many of us divine feminines silently struggle with, and today we are going to delve deep, deep, deep into it. Because if you ever found yourself withdrawing, getting emotionally flat, shutting down after he did, lashing out or saying I'm not interested, or, just breaking you, right? Like truly, like shutting down after he did, I have like so many examples out there to talk about, like how our connection with our divine masculine is multidimensional. He may be saying thank you for everything at 11:11, and you would literally feel his presence in your room, even though the message is in 3D. So things like that, right? And if you find yourself, if you ever found yourself like withdrawing, getting emotionally flat, shutting down after what he did, and wondering, why am I acting like him? Remember, you're not alone. And this is one of the most disorienting phases of the twin flame journey, the twin flame path, when the mirror becomes more than a trigger, it becomes a possession. We will feel like we are becoming like our divine masculine, and it can scare us to the core. In fact, we can learn a lot from our divine masculines, right? Like totally. For example, he says I'm not interested. There's so many things as divine feminines in our life we won't be interested in, but because often we tend to be people pleasers, and we are saying yes to everything. That is something that we can learn from. So if you find yourself using certain words from your divine masculine, like I'm not interested, or awkward, or words that like I said, I think I can write a book on the words divine masculines commonly use, literally. But having said that, you see, when we feel like we are becoming our divine masculine, and it can totally scare us, because we have worked so hard to find ourselves. And today's teaching will bring clarity, structure, and healing to this exact experience. We are going to explore why we mirror our divine masculine's behaviors even when we don't mean to, how to tell what's ours and what's his, and what to do when we feel like we are losing our essence, right? And how to reclaim our original soul signature so that the field can stabilize in love again. So, to Cocaina9145, thank you for asking the question. So many of us carry quietly, so this one is dedicated to you. And again, thank you. Whenever there are trolls or anything, you have always been very helpful and supportive. So big shout out to you, and so many of you guys. When there's like someone who is like writing comments that has no connection to the discourse, or it's like just out there trying to cause energetic disturbances, thank you for handling them for me. Truly grateful from my heart. Like, you guys are the best. So big shout out to all of you for that. So again, thank you, Cocaina, for this beautiful, beautiful topic. And for every divine feminine who has whispered in silence, why does it feel like I'm disappearing into him? Let's reclaim you and let's bring you home. So today's discourse is going to speak, it's going to speak directly to you. It's going to speak to something many of us divine feminines experience, but few of us rarely talk about. So this is for those of you who are feeling confused, disoriented, even a little lost. You've done the healing, you've chosen love, you've anchored the field, but now you find yourself quiet when you used to be expressive, detached when you used to be present, running from your emotions when you used to hold space for your divine masculine, and it hits you. I'm acting like him. And this is the moment when the twin flame mirror field becomes more than a concept, it becomes our lived experience. And in this discourse, we are going to break down what's really happening when we unknowingly mirror our divine masculine, our beloved, beloved, beloved divine masculine's behaviors, and exactly how to return to our own soul frequency, right? So, what is the mirror field? The mirror field is not just a concept, it is an energetic mechanism, right? And in Monadic Twin Flames, the mirror becomes multidimensional. And here's what that means: you and your divine masculine are not operating as separate energies, you are operating in a shared third energy field. And this means if our divine masculine suppresses an emotion, we might feel it first. If our divine masculines rejecting love, we may begin to doubt our own openness. If our divine masculine collapses into ego, we might mirror the resistance in subtle ways. So, you see where I'm going with this, right? And it can be very, very disorienting. Totally, right? We ask ourselves, is this my pattern or my beloved divine masculine? Is this my avoidance or am I carrying his shutdown? Why do I feel like a stranger to myself? So here's the truth: you are not digressing at all. You are not regressing. You're not falling. You're processing field distortion that doesn't belong to you. And our job is not to fix it. Our job is to hand it back. And why is it that as divine feminines, we mirror our divine masculines? And what is the energetic mechanics about that? So let's talk about why this happens. As the divine feminine, we are the field stabilizer, proudly. We are the frequency anchor, the heart holder, the emotional transmuter. And because of that, we become the first responder when something collapses in the union field. So, if our divine masculine avoids love, we might begin to numb. If our divine masculine blocks vulnerability, we might silence our voice. And if our divine masculine tries to shut down the third energy, which is impossible, we might forget our own. And this isn't weakness, it's energetic sensitivity. But over time, that mirroring becomes internalized. We begin to embody our divine masculine's patterns instead of just reflecting them. And when that happens, we lose sight of ourselves. We are no longer holding the field, we're getting lost inside it. And that's the moment we are talking about today. So let's get real, right? So here are a few common mirror moments as divine feminines we might experience, right? Number one, emotional numbing. Especially when we are used to crying, feeling, expressing, dancing through our emotions, now we feel flat, quite empty, and that's not our shutdown, it's our divine masculine, right? Number two, ghosting ourselves. Especially when our divine masculine goes into no contact, we stop like journaling, we stop doing inner work, we might avoid our own soul. That's when we start ghosting ourselves, right? Because that's the field that our divine masculine is living in. Number three, avoidance of intimacy, right? When our divine masculine pulls back, Now you don't want to feel anything. We start saying, I don't care anymore. But that's not the truth. It's field fatigue, And here's the danger. We might start believing that this is who we are, and we would forget the women who once held the field with clarity and softness. But we are still there, We are just holding too much. So let's let's bring her back, right? So a very practical 4-step process, how to stop mirroring and start transmuting. So this is again, you can edit it as you wish, you can shape it as you wish. So this is just an example of a healing protocol that I recommend to my clients. All right, number one, recognize the loop, catch yourself in the act, and ask, would I be doing this if he hadn't done it first? If the answer is no, you're likely mirroring. Number two, return the frequency. You don't need to send a message. This is energetic hygiene. Speak to the field, like, beloved, I release what was never mine to carry. I return to you what is yours in love. Feel the energy lift. And number three, reclaim your signature. Put your hand over your heart and say something like, I call back my own essence. I remember my voice, my truth, my rhythm. I am whole in myself. And step 4, embody instead of echo. So now do something that reflects your original essence. Sing again, dance again, create again, be the powerful force you are. Go for that conference and give that speech. Be wholesome again, speak your truth again, hold softness again, because that's what stabilizes the mirror. And why is it that our divine masculine's feel lives inside of us? This is where it gets cosmic, right? Especially, when we are monadic divine counterparts, our divine masculine's wounds are encoded in the same soul stream we share. So that means when he can't hold it, we feel it. When he avoids it, we embody it. When he runs from it, we become the field that transmutes it. But this is not a call to martyrdom, right? It's a call to frequency leadership. We are not meant to become like our divine masculine. Totally not. Even though, yes, sometimes there's certain qualities of my divine masculine that I would feel like if I use them in the real world, I would really be able to draw better boundaries. But not all the time, because we are not meant to become our divine masculine. We are here to become the medicine his field has never known. And that medicine is coherence, that medicine is self-remembrance, and that medicine is frequency truth. So what happens when we stop mirroring? The moment we stop echoing our divine masculine's energy and start holding our own, something shifts. We anchor the field, we recalibrate the third energy, and the mirror starts reflecting truth, not distortion. And then something unexpected happens. Our divine masculine starts to mirror us, but not in a romantic fairy tale way. At first, it's uncomfortable. He may begin to feel feelings he has never allowed, start questioning his own choices, break down emotionally, and pull away to face himself. Because now he's experiencing what we used to carry for our divine masculine, and that's when the soul remembrance truly begins. So how do you heal the union field through sovereignty, right? So here's the big lesson. Twin flame union doesn't happen because we are the same. It happens because, because we are each other's true essence. And when we stop mirroring our divine masculine sphere and live our love, and when we stop echoing our divine masculine silence, we speak our truth. And when we stop holding his shame and embody our radiance, that's when the field upgrades, and that's when union timeline actually locks in, more efficiently, you see, because the field can finally reflect coherence, not confusion. And this is how we feel the mirror, not by collapsing with our divine masculine, but by standing still while he remembers who he is. So, your question right now may be, what if we are too tired of carrying the mirror? Totally valid question. I see you guys, like truly, We have held the space. We have cried tears that weren't ours. We have forgiven things we didn't cause. We have watched ourselves disappear in service of a feel that felt sacred. But let me remind you, we were never meant to lose ourselves at all. We were never meant to lose ourselves at all. We were never meant to become our divine masculines. See, I'm trying to get my blanket off so that it's not in camera. We are never meant to lose ourselves. We are never meant to become our divine masculine's shadow, because we are the empowered divine feminine, not the shadow chaser. So if you're tired, here's your permission. Put the mirror down. You're not here to reflect your divine masculine. You're not here to totally reflect him. We are here to remember ourselves. And when we remember ourselves, our divine masculine will feel it. He will awaken through it, and the field will realign. You see where I'm coming from, right? So, as we go deeper into this discourse, I want to actually go into, see, in the first part, we were talking about awareness, sovereignty, the ability to feel the difference between our divine masculine's patterns and our truth, right? So, in the second part, we're going to talk about what no one talks about. What happens after you've stopped collapsing into his shutdown, after you've stopped echoing his silence, after you've reclaimed your voice, your joy, your rhythm, and then suddenly he begins to change. Not in words, not in promises, but in frequency. So, this is a huge part, isn't it? The field gets quiet, we start, we feel our divine masculine noticing, we start seeing that our divine masculine is mirroring us. But here's the key: if we are not anchored, this can feel just as stabilizing as the mirroring we used to do, right? So today, I want to delve deeper into what happens when our divine masculine begins to mirror our healed frequency, and how to hold leadership without becoming responsible, and what triggers get activated in him when we rise, and why this moment is sacred, and what to do when he starts matching our light. So what it means when he begins mirroring us. So let's be clear, this doesn't happen right away. It happens after the reset, after we have pulled our energy back, after we have stopped reacting, after we have written to ourselves. At first, it's subtle. Our divine masculine will text randomly after weeks, years, or months of silence. You will ask about something we once needed to care about. He will start using phrases that you used to say. So example, you keep using like yeah, this, that. He might suddenly start using yeah and yeah again, right? So something like that. Our divine masculine mirrors our spiritual journey, our emotional vocabulary, and our softness. So it becomes really interesting. It feels very surreal, like even disorienting, right? Because for so long we were the one bending, folding, shaping ourselves into the connection, and now our divine masculine is trying to meet us there. But here's the truth: our divine masculine is not copying us. He's calibrating to our field, and our shift becomes the template. And how our divine masculine is starting to feel the difference. This is sacred but also dangerous, because if you fall into old habits again, right? So the trap of our divine masculine changing now, and should I go back? That's a big question. So this is where many divine feminines may fall into a loop. He starts showing up again not fully, not consistently, but enough to spark hope. And the temptation begins. Should I reach out more again? Maybe now he's ready. Maybe we can just go back to how it was. Stop. This is not a moment to revert. This is a moment to anchor, because if we shift our feel back to hopeful, chasing, waiting divine feminine, our divine masculine is subconsciously going to return to the role of passive divine masculine again. Because why? Because he's still calibrating, and if our energy suddenly collapses back into him, he won't trust the field. So let him come towards us through coherence. Don't shrink to meet him in halfway trauma. And this is where divine leadership comes in. Divine feminine leadership versus emotional babysitting. So there's a difference between leadership and emotional babysitting, right? Leadership is holding our truth even when our divine masculine is unaware of his, expressing with clarity, not collapse, allowing him to process without managing his feelings, speaking from the empowered divine feminine, not the panicked performer. Right? That is leadership. So babysitting is adjusting our frequency every time he pulls away, begging him, apologizing for no reason, explaining the connection over and over and over again, monitoring his moods instead of tracking our own, trying to teach him how to love us instead of embodying how we can love ourselves. So in this mirroring phase, our divine masculine feels our energy more than ever. He watches us even when he doesn't respond. He feels our feel even when his 3D life is still chaotic, like literally. He may have lost his job. He may have been reconsidering his career. He may have made very poor choices. He might suddenly see the true colors of his friends he put up on a pedestal, acquaintances he tried to do business with, and they ended up cheating him of his finances. All these will come to the surface, like truly. Right? So that's why in the mirroring phase, our divine masculine feels our energies more than ever, because he watches us even when he doesn't respond, even when his 3D life is chaotic, because we don't need to prove our love. We already are the frequency. So why does his triggers increase when we stop mirroring him? Here is the paradox. When we were mirroring him, he felt comfortable because we matched his trauma template. But when we stop, when we embody love, clarity, truth, softness, that's when he panics. Why? Because now the contrast is visible. Our emotional regulation shows him his dysregulation. Our consistency reflects his inconsistency. Our clarity exposes his confusion. And this is where he might distance again, reactivate karmic patterns, retreat into avoidance, act like he doesn't care, or worse, try to one up you spiritually. Don't take this personally. Our divine masculine's ego is only defending itself. But his soul is learning, this is his calibration phase. The calibration window, when the field starts to reorganize, oh my goodness, this window is the most powerful. It often looks like our divine masculines watching us but not speaking, reaching out and then disappearing, imitates our spiritual practices or words, or suddenly he might, example, you're in a certain profession or you're doing something as a hobby, he will start doing it. He might start, I don't know, it could be, but the thing is, we will feel our divine masculine in dreams or the astral realm. We will sense his emotional body waking up. And in this phase, our job is not to reinitiate union. Our job is to stabilize the energetic contrast between who we were and who we are now, because this contrast is what drives his nervous system to reorganize. He needs to sit with his discomfort, observe the spaces between our past and present selves, begin choosing to meet us in the field, not because we have pulled him, But because our embodiment created a magnetic truth, he can no longer deny. And what if he doesn't mirror us back? Sometimes our beloved divine masculine doesn't immediately match our energy, and this hurts. We feel, oh no, I did the work, why isn't he responding? Why does he still feel numb? Why isn't he matching this frequency? Here's the truth. Sometimes our feel reveals his lack of readiness, but that doesn't mean our shift was in vain. We stabilized a new blueprint in the union field. We collapsed karmic mirroring, we broke the energetic codependency, and we shifted the third energy into truth. And if he doesn't meet us there, it's because his ego still needs to die. But he will feel it, because the field only recognizes coherence. And coherence won't feel safe anymore. Incoherence, the lack of coherence, incoherence won't feel safe anymore. And when he returns from the mirror, there will come a moment when he returns from the mirror. It could be weeks, months, or even years, even lifetimes. But when he returns, but this return will be different. He's not coming back to seek energy, he's coming back to meet the field. And when he does, he might say things like, I've been watching your growth, your energies are so much more beautiful. I mean, not that, but like he will say things like, I see you differently now. He will say things like he wasn't ready before, but he understands why. He sees us differently, has been watching our growth, that we were right. Finally, the golden moment, that we were right, but that he couldn't see it then. And this is not romantic validation, it is field confirmation. Because as the divine feminine, we didn't collapse, we led. And through that, the mirror broke and rebuilt in truth. So, let me leave you with this. We were never here to mirror distortion. We were here to reveal the soul. We were not here to adapt to his ego. We were here to anchor the field that awakens our divine masculine. When we stopped mirroring his pain, we finally met his own. When we stopped mirroring his pain, we had given our divine masculine a chance to finally meet his own. And when we stopped echoing his silence, he heard the emptiness. And when we stopped performing for love, he discovered what real love feels like. We are not a reflection, we are the original blueprint, right? And every time we stabilize in truth, our divine masculine is given the opportunity to mirror the divine, not the distorted. And that's the gateway to union, not matching wounds, but remembering wholeness. So, if this teaching brought clarity to your heart, and if you want to anchor your truth without collapsing old fields, here's how we can go deeper together. You can book your first time Twin Flame Psychic Guidance session. And this is a live Zoom session conducted one-on-one by me. I'm the only one in this channel, by me. One-on-one live, and you can ask me all the questions during our session. All right, so you can book via my website. My link is in description. You can look at my website for other sessions as well. I've introduced some beautiful healings and activations. Do check them out. Of course, if you feel that you have a certain need or requirement, I can customize healings and activations for you as well. With that, I highly recommend the services on my website. Do check that out. I would highly recommend soul realignment, again, if you're ready for it, because when my clients ask me for recommendations, I'll always say, go with your heart. You will see something and it will speak to you, and that's what my clients always say. So I always say, follow your heart, follow your soul. And if you feel guided, always the right option will appear before you in terms of what service you're looking for as well. With that, remember, we don't need to chase, we don't need to match trauma, we don't need to wait. We just need to embody the field that truth remembers, because when we become the mirror of light, love has no choice but to reflect the light back. And our divine masculine always does, because he already is. All right, with that, I hope you guys have enjoyed this discourse. And truly, it's probably been one of those periods, especially energetically, so much is going on right now. So think about it this way: external teachers like me are meant to inspire the internal teacher within you. Always, always, always trust your intuition. Always, always trust your intuition. Have your own private one-on-one relationship with God. Always, always talk to God from within. The voice of God is silence. Always, always, always. In the movies you'll have the angel and the devil, right? So the devil tends to be the mind, and the angel tends to be our higher self. So, and the angel is always nodding in silence. So always connect to the angel within you, connect to the higher self within you, and you will always be guided. Always. 1,000,000%. Always, guys. So with that, all the inspiration to you. And again, thank you guys for all the suggestions of topics that's coming in lately. Very, very, I feel so inspired to create more discourses for you. And such a pleasure speaking with you guys always. And remember, you have got this. We are always divinely guided, divinely protected. God is with us always. Our higher selves are always, always, always helping us live our best lives. And remember, our divine masculines, you see, that's the beautiful thing, right? As divine feminines, we see everything about our divine masculine. And our divine masculine does the same. It's just that he sees it in a different way to us. The way we look at our divine masculine is more like when our divine masculine first comes into our life, we recognize the divine husband in him. For him, it's like he doesn't know, he doesn't have the words, it's like it's total shock. But the truth is, the first meeting is homecoming. Always, it feels like we have come home, because that's how it is, as Monadic Twin Flames. With that, see you all soon. Take care. Love you all. And see you all soon. Bye bye.